to income tax. So these were the income tax, as I said in the previous discussion. I said that with the income tax, though it is 25%, but in Ghana it has been structured in the sense that we spread it. We try to spread the tax to cover a lot of taxable income so that we can easily allocate the actual amount that you need to pay as tax. Okay, but in practical sense, at times clearly multiply the tax that we're going to give it to you as an income, then you get your income tax that you need to pay to the government from your earnings. All right, so that's from the annual income tax rate to residents in Ghana year 2010. These were the values that we were talking about. Now these were how we used to computing what the income tax for what employees in companies, organizations, or ministries. First, it was 2008. Here, with that taxable income, you pay nothing. You don't pay any tax on it. But after that 2008, then you come to the range of 240. That 240, these are your chargeable incomes. These are the income that we tax on it. Okay, so here there's a difference. The 240 here, meaning that when we add the 240 to this 1008, the result going to have the 1008, and that answer or that result is the difference of the 240. So if you are within that range, then you tax what 5%. The same thing also happens. You're going to add a 720 to that of for the total of these two, and the answer that we have, and together with the total of these two, the range is what we are having here as what 7 or 20. And if you are within that, you pay 10%, and it goes on and on and on. When the 14,232, 17%, then exceeding 16,200, you pay what 25%. So that was for in the year 2010. But as at now, so this one was for a resident in what in the country like Ghana. Now, but here that was for the resident. The non-resident, they were paying a flat rate of 20%. If you were someone outside the country by birth, you weren't born here, but you came as a result of other factors, and you became what a resident of the country. You are not a resident. You are more like you are not by birth, so you cannot be a resident. So for them, when they engage in any business, that you were taxed at 20%. That was in the year 2010. But currently, in the year 2020 and 2021, as we are in, these are the chargeable income rates and their percentage. Remember, the percentage it still runs, so it doesn't change. It still remains. It says that it increases, but various levels doesn't change. It still remains the same. So here, the first is 3,828. Just pay now as I did on that of the 2010 year. The same analogy. Here it was 1,008, but here is 3,828. Meaning that there has been an increase in the chargeable income that we're going to apply a tax. Then 1,200. Same thing. There also be an increase. When you check, the next level was 240 for 2010. By 2021, it is 1,200. For then it progresses like that. Then we will have 1,440. Then 36,000. Then 197,532. Then 240,000. Gonna pay 30%, exceeding. If you have any income exceeding this amount, then you pay 30% on that. So you clearly see that with the two, they all maintain their percentage. It doesn't change, just that their chargeable incomes were changing, causing just change. I think the introduction of the 30% here. All right. So currently, these are for residents in the country. In that of the year 2010 and recently 2020-21. These are the current estimates that we are having as at now. These are for the residents in the country. So, what about the non-residents? Currently, the non-resident, they are taxed for 25%. Note, non-resident, they are taxed for 25% as what? Yeah, tax that they need to pay, income tax they need to pay to the citizen as part of their membership in this civilized society as defined by Window in his writing. So take note of that. And previously 2010 was 20% for non-resident. For non-resident, it was 20%, but now it's 25% for non-resident. And these are the that's of the residents. So the resident one, you see they are on different levels, but with the non-residents in that of previous and current year, they are on flat rate base. 20% was for previous, but now it's 25%. The reason why we are doing all these things is just to understand from the practical sense that broad time activity that takes place within the organization. But here our focus here is not to how to get information from the company to determine the tax rate here and there. No. But our focus to how we can easily calculate the taxes if we are given a practical question to work it out. So always you're going to give you these tax rate information. So currently these are the tax rates that are applicable on income. Okay, so you're going to give you these income tax rate and expect you to apply it if you have an personal income question where someone earns an income. We expect you to apply this, then you solve for. So at times going to give it to you in a question, but if we don't give it to you, expect you to know, then get it by hand and apply it and use to solve for your questions. So that is how the income tax rate is gonna apply. So in a question, if they don't give it to you, they will expect you to go by this. For currently, this is what we are having 2020, 2021. These are the way that we are using. Now we are no more using the old one. The old one, there have been somewhat adjustment to it, so you need to go by the current rate for an income tax. So let's take note of that. Alright, so we are going to take a question on that. Well, as I said, the aim of this video and this lesson that we are learning here is not to know deep or go deep to taxes and know how things are done in a tax centers or tax organization. But our aim is to just to calculate the tax on simple basis like sales tax, income tax, and other things, giving any percentage rates. But as I said, if you are not giving, we expect you to go by this system of progressive tax, then you go by that. So take note of that. So non-residents now is 25%, and these are the residents and their progressive tax law. So let's take a question and see how we can move with that. So from here we move on to payroll accounting. So let's take a note. So this is our first question on income tax. It says, example 1. What is the amount payable? What is the amount payable as income tax if LPC earns 5,600 as income per annum? Remember, in this question, you see there wasn't any rate that was given, so it should be a hint to you that they are not using any rate, but they are using their progressive current rate that has been adjusted in Ghana. So that's why you're going to use. You're going to use this rate to deal with this question. So here, if you are given a question of this form, then you are not given this, then you expected you to know this by hand, then apply them as such. All right. So you are going to go by that, having knowing the chargeable interest here, we can easily go by it. But here, know that you should note here that our income, our total income per annum is equal to what? 5,600. It's equal to 5,600. Remember, so you ask yourself, with this 5,600, how many levels will the 5,600 cover, so that we can easily make our charges within this tax net. So you ask yourself, if I take away 3,820 from this, how much is left? Can I still take 1,200 from it? Can I still take 1,400? Then if you can get that progress, then you tax that amount here. So this is what I'm saying. So this is how it's gonna be. So you're going to have your, so let me have a table here. So this is a table I'm talking about. Alright, so I'm having my shadows column rather, sorry. So here, what I will do here is to take this one, 3,828 from 5,600, and let's see what I'm going to left. So do your side, do mine. So when I deducted, I had what 1,772. So here meaning that I can rely on then the second level or the next what chargeable what level, so that I can also apply the rate. Right. So here the tax amount was 0, and here is what 0. Then my 1,200. So now I'm left with, after subtracting the 3,828 from 5,600, I was left with a 1,772. So I will subtract 1,200 from it again, and I'm left with what 572. So meaning that now I'm going to apply what, since I was able to get 1,200 from the remaining, which was 1,772, I can safely apply my 5% on the 1,200 here, 1,200 here, then I'll get my tax for that. So here, let me apply. Remember, we have a balance of 572. That's what is left after paying off the tax of what 1,200, paying from the tax of 1,200. That is chargeable taxable earnings, right? So here 1,200 multiplied by my 5%, I have 60. So here is 60. Sorry, so here is my 5%. Then here I had what 60. Meaning that I'm now left with 5,702 as my rate. So you see, the next one, which is 1,400, is more than that of the 5,702. So meaning that the 572 will be within that range to be part of the 1,440. So whatever it left and which level that you have waged, you just take what 8% and you multiply. So I'm left with 572. So I'm going to write the 572 here. So I'm going to write 572. Alright, then I'll take 10% of 572. Then whatever I get is my tax for that level. So I had 57.2. So at the end of the day, if you want to make sure that you are correct and with your tax, just add the taxable earnings that you just did. It should be in agree with the total earnings for the period. So let's see, let's try and let's see. So let's work it out and let's see whether we're going to have that. So here, this is my calculator. So let's see. First, I have my calculator, let's do it. So here 3,800. Yes, 3,820 plus. Then the other one was 1,200 plus. Then the other one was what? 572. So let's see. So you're going to see I have what? 5,600, which was the same thing as it was in the question. 5,600 here, this one. So always when you do it right, after adding your taxable earnings from here, you should be the total should give you what your income that you earn for the period. So let's take note of that. So meaning that I can safely say that therefore my total tax that I can pay per annum on the basis of my 5,600 I earned will be, so total tax paid, so I'll add 60 plus 57.2, then I can have what 117.2 Ghana cedis as my total tax that I paid for the period. So that is how it goes. So if you were to have more income, meaning that you should have worked and cut across these other rates, but because the income was very low, we were able to tax as low as within the third level. Because at first we had null, then second was just 5%, and third was 10% based on the taxable earnings within the question. All right. So this is how these kind of questions are. So anytime you are not giving the rate, you expect you to go by the current rate now that we are having. Just use by that and solve for your question. But at any point in time, if they want to use the current, they want you to use the current rate, you're going to provide in the question so that you can easily use it and go by it. So as I said, if they don't give you the rough, it doesn't mean that the question is wrong. Whatever they give to you, just stick to it and work with it. That is all. Just understand the concept and apply with it, and that is all that you need to understand. Okay, so that is that for the income tax. So I have a small question here. Let me add up so that we get into payroll. So example 2. So this is example 2. If the total tax paid by Queen Star for a particular month amounted to 200 Ghana cedis, when her personal income tax rate was 25%, then determine the total amount that Queen Star earns for that month. Determine the total amount that Queen Star earns for that month. So here in the question we are told that he paid the total tax amount of which is the personal income tax of 200 Ghana cedis, but the personal income tax rate was given as for 25%, meaning that the 25% of his income was the one that was given as what the amount that he pays as what personal income tax to the government. So here we are asked to determine the total income that he earns for that month. So how are you going to go by that? So here, since we know that anytime the tax is given, the tax rate is given, you multiply by what the income or the taxable income, then you get, for you to get the amount you're going to pay as tax. That's what you're going to do. So here we can say that my total tax paid is equal to my tax rate multiplied by my income. That's what we're going to say. So now my total tax paid was what in the question was given as Green Star was given as what 200. That was what she paid, right? Then the rate was what 25%, but we don't know the income, so I can represent that one as what I, capital I. Okay, so what I will do here is to divide both sides by what 25%, divide both sides by 25%. So when I go to my calculator, I can therefore say that therefore the income therefore the income, so this is what we are talking about. So therefore I can say that therefore the income is my 200 divided by what 25%, which fetch me what 800 Ghana cedis. So meaning that this was her original income that he earns for that month, that he pays for 200 what Ghana cedis as income tax. But this was the original income. So if you want to try check, just apply 25% on the 800, you're going to get what 200, and you get the 200. Bam, that's what I'm saying. So I hope you all can see. So just 25% of the 800, and get the 200 as the tax that he paid in this question. So that is how we also go by the income tax, where we are giving what a flat rate. Just multiply by your income. So anytime you are given a flat rate, just multiply the flat rate by the income, then you get the tax you're going to pay to the authorities concerned. So far so good. We have done taxes, we explain taxes, you talk about various taxes, then you talk about income tax, sales tax, then property tax, corporate tax, and others. So we'll like to bring the discussion to this end, and we'll continue in the part 2 of this section where we discuss payroll and other aspects. Thank you.